John Defterios joins us now from Dubai with the very latest on the summit. So what's been happening there?
Well, Rosemary, there's the whole trade discussion. That's the core business for Dubai as a major exporter. But the World Government Summit's taking a look at the future, artificial intelligence, how it affects our societies here, the health of societies going forward, but also the health of our planet. And that's the spirit of our guest that's joining us now. He's an architect by trade, but is trying to solve some of the biggest challenges that we face in our Earth today. Let's welcome in William McDonough of McDonough Innovation. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you, John.
We've talked a great deal over the last couple of years about plastics in the ocean. You have a very simple concept to this huge challenge, and that is to go to the 10 major arteries, the rivers, capture the plastic at the mouth of the oceans. Is it really that simple, and how close are you to getting this done?
Well, it's not that simple, but that's where the problem is. And I think whenever you're trying to solve a problem, look for concentration and flow. Look where the problem starts from, and then learn how to move it. So what we're looking at, instead of running around the oceans looking for bits and pieces, which we should do, we actually economically can stop it most effectively by stopping it at the mouths of the rivers.
If you think of the growth around the world today, it's China kind of reaching down to Southeast Asia.
Right.
4 of the top 6 polluters when it comes to plastics are in Southeast Asia. So your concentration is there. Is the idea to have ships scoop up plastic and actually recycle and get it back to Earth? How does that work, Bill?
Part of the idea is to let people collect plastics along the coastlines, let them collect plastics in the harbors and at the mouths of the rivers using fishing fleets and otherwise, but also to take the land-based plastics and the materials coming from the land and process them together at all the harbors. And we can use ships as one part of it, and we can use the land-based the other. The plastics coming from the ocean are contaminated with chlorine, and they're contaminated with living things. And so they don't really resort and return to being plastics easily. But if we add them to the plastics from the land in a small dilution, we can actually process all of it back to oil.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. So it's cradle to cradle in your philosophy here.
Right.
I know there's a lot of bans around the world on plastic bags, for example, or taxes in place.
Right.
It's a real challenge in the United States. You have bans against the plastic ban.
We do.
10 states.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
It's ironic.
Yeah, it's incredible, particularly because the United States is known as a polluter and is trying to come up with solutions, but 10 states don't want to do anything about it?
Well, the basic thing about the states is people sometimes don't want to be told what to do. That's one thing. They don't like regulation per se.
Right.
But a lot of the countries in the world recognize this as a global problem. And they see it in the oceans, and they see it in their landscapes. In the United States, we've essentially had landfills, and some incinerators, but mostly landfills. So problems in America disappear. We send them and put them away.
What, out of sight, out of mind?
Out of sight, out of mind. So they're saying, give me the convenience of the plastic bag. I don't see the problem. That's the difference.
Does it worry you as an architect, and we have about 30 seconds here, that we're so behind the curve, whether it's plastics in the ocean, coming up with policies for plastic bags, the U.S. pulling out of the Paris Agreement? How do you see it as we sit at this World Government Summit?
What I see here is world government looking at the concept of 7 billion citizens on the planet and starting to look at how do we make decisions for the benefit of 7 billion people. So this kind of idea, which is a global strategy, is something I think even the chemical industry will be very excited about. They're setting up big funds to eliminate plastic waste. This is exactly the kind of thing we need to do for the long term.
Okay, it's great to see you, and thanks for joining us. You just made a presentation to the likes of Harrison Ford and all the leaders here in the UAE. Bill McDonough, once again, of McDonough Innovation.
Thank you very much.
And Rosemary, that's an interesting concept, right? You take the plastics, capture them at the mouths of the river before they go into the oceans, and actually recycle. Cradle to cradle is what we call it.
Yeah, that is exactly what we all want to see going forward. Many thanks to you, John Defterios. We'll join you again next hour.